Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that attended our last live stream or watched our last live stream or even watched the meat and potatoes of that live stream that we had, you all remember me asking a question during that live stream that I wonder if that Mount Tonga, the one that erupted a little over a year ago, about a year and a half ago, and spewed a whole bunch of water into the atmosphere, I wonder if that's partially to blame for the heat waves and a lot of the flooding that we have going on, or a lot of the big rainstorms that we have going on, because that eruption spewed, I think, almost 40 billion gallons of water. I came up with like 39 billion gallons of water into the atmosphere, and I said whatever goes up must come down. Well, someone answered my question. All right, so we're going to talk about that today, along with a lot of other newsworthy things that I found on the net that you don't want to miss. But first, I want to make a correction to a statement that I made on yesterday's video about Oupes. And if you weren't here for that part, then this is something that you definitely want to know about. Oupes, and that's how I pronounce it. I pronounce it Oupes. Some people say it's supposed to be pronounced Wopes. I like Oupes, is what I've been calling them this entire time. But Oupes, as you all know, ladies and gentlemen, who've been here for a while, is my favorite solar generator brand. And I've often said that I really like Oupes because they produce a good product at a very good price, and they're always innovating to get their products to become better and keep up, of course, with competition. Well, yesterday I announced that Oupes has two things that they come out with which are great. They have a campaign going on that's called Oupes Powerful Moments, and during yesterday's video I mentioned that Oupes Powerful Moments, that you can share one of your powerful moments, like a good moment, something to spread positivity or something like that of yourself, of your life with Oupes, and you'll be entered to win $3,000, right? And I think that's a great thing. And I said that you can share it of anything. What I failed to mention is that there has to be an Oupes product in the background. So as you see this picture right here, the same picture that I used yesterday, they're sharing a moment of like family time, right? And there is an Oupes in the background. Probably there's some kind of a power outage or something like that, and they're using an Oupes. So in order to share your Oupes powerful moments in the form of a picture or a short video, there has to be an Oupes in the background if you want to be entered for the $3,000 prize. All right, so I apologize for maybe misleading you yesterday on that. I honestly thought that it was just any picture whatsoever. The other program that I talked about, ladies and gentlemen, is Oupes Helps. And what Oupes is doing is they're taking 5% of all their sales, putting it in a separate account, and using that to help people who need help for whatever. If you need help with something, if you're in a financial strife for whatever reason, all you have to do is come onto this page, click on the apply now, fill out the application, and I'm not sure exactly what it is that you need to qualify, but what does it hurt to ask if you really need the help? Now, later on today, I am going to come out with a short video because Oupes is going to go ahead and have a hurricane season super sale. That's what I'm calling it. Reason is it's a super sale to me is because they are putting their products at a sale price that is the lowest that it's ever been. And if you use my code Alaska Prepper, you're going to get an additional 10% off the already really low prices. Now, I can't tell you what the prices are, but I do have a little bit of insider information on what they are. And let me tell you, most of their products are going to be selling at the lowest prices that I've ever seen them sell since Oupes opened their doors. All right, so now let's get back to the video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of news to go over, okay? So stay tuned. And in the end of the video, we're going to end it with some really good news. Now, let me tell you about the chapters function that I put on my videos, or most of them at least. If for some reason you lose interest in a topic that we are currently talking about, you can always skip ahead to the next topic without having to find it by you just scrolling the cursor, okay? You can just click a button, it'll skip to the next talking topic that we're going to be talking about, and then it'll take you right there, okay, ladies and gentlemen? So if for some reason halfway through you're like, okay, I'm tired of hearing about this, then you can always skip to the very next one. No harm, no foul. At least you'll get to know what we're talking about next. In the future, ladies and gentlemen, the mainstream media will use this event to scare you. No, they're not going to say the earth is warming because of this volcano and it's only going to last so many years. They're going to say the earth is warming because of you. You got to stop farming. You got to stop eating meat. You got to stop driving your car. You got to move to 15-minute cities. You got to stop taking airplane rides. You got to stop doing this, doing that. You have to stop living. They're going to put a meter in your mouth. That way, every time you exhale fail, you'll have to owe more money in taxes, etc., etc., etc. You know where this is going. Climate lockdowns, no more meat, eating bugs. All of these things are part of their agendas. And how can you say they are not when it's been out there for so many years? Well, they're going to try to scare you saying, hey, the earth is getting warm, because the earth is going to continue to get warmer for the next few years. In my opinion, all right, I'm not a scientist, but also in the educated opinion of real scientists that have peer-reviewed papers, this volcanic eruption that happened with Mount Tonga here about a year and a half ago has resulted in billions and billions of gallons of water being spewed into the atmosphere, and that water is now doing two things. One thing is that it's starting to warm the earth a little bit. Why? Because water vapor, not necessarily water, but water vapor is a gas that keeps the earth warmer, or that makes it warmer. There's nothing that we can do about that. But it wasn't you that did that. It was a volcano, ladies and gentlemen. And eventually all that water that's up in the atmosphere, whatever goes up, I've said, must come down. But let's read on. The Hunga Tonga undersea volcano eruption in January 2022 was larger than any nuclear blast conducted by the U.S., and the shock wave was felt worldwide. I heard that it was felt twice worldwide. It went around the earth twice. A new study reveals the eruption, which injected large amounts of water vapor into the atmosphere in an unprecedented way in our lifetime, might cause global temperatures to warm temporarily. And temporarily, they mean years, ladies and gentlemen. The amount of water vapor injected into the stratosphere after the eruption of the HTHH, which is the volcano, was unprecedented, and it is therefore unclear what it might mean for surface climate. We use climate model simulations to assess the long-term surface impacts of stratospheric water vapor anomalies caused by volcanic eruptions. The simulations show that the SWV anomalies lead to strong and persistent warming of northern hemisphere landmasses in boreal winter and austral winter cooling over Australia, wrote Martin Jucker, the leader researcher on the study from the University of South Wales Climate Change Research Center. So this is not just some YouTuber like me saying, hey, the earth is going to get warmer because we had a volcanic eruption. This is someone who does this for a living, who's dedicated their life to science, and this is what they're telling us. And to a layman like me, it just makes sense. I'll tell you what, the mainstream media is going to have such a good time with this, scaring people that are not in the know. The paper examines the aftermath of the eruption and reveals that surface temperatures across large regions of the world increased by over 1.5 degrees Celsius for several years. Ladies and gentlemen, the media is going to have a heyday. I am sure that they are loving this, ladies and gentlemen. Please tell your friends, let them read this, show them this video so they can do their own research. That way when the media starts to go out there and government pundits start to go out there saying, hey, you have to stay home. Why? Well, because the earth is getting warmer and it's your fault. They can at least know that it's not, all right? Although some areas experience cooling close to 1 degree Celsius, additionally, the research suggests a potential connection between the eruption and sea surface temperatures in the tropical Pacific. And that is why we're going to be having storms that are more erratic than other. It changes the sea temperature. This is my opinion. Right? When the sea temperature gets warmer or colder, it actually really affects the kind of winters that we have, the storms that we have, the hurricanes that we have, etc., etc., ladies and gentlemen. This is nature. It's not your fault or my fault, anyone's fault that this mountain or that this volcano erupted in the way that it did. Now listen to this. I think I did pretty good when I talked to you all on the Meats and Potatoes video of the live stream, where I said that it was about 39 billion gallons of water that was spewed into the atmosphere, because I had to do the math on that and I just wasn't sure if that was right, but I was pretty close. Large volcanic eruptions cause the climate to cool because sulfur dioxide is typically emitted into the atmosphere, but not with this one. With Tonga it's different because the underwater caldera shot 146 metric megatons of water into the stratosphere, potentially contributing to atmospheric warming for the next 5 years. They're going to have a heyday. I keep thinking about the mainstream media, how happy they must be over this. Ryan Mao, a meteorologist and a former NOAA scientist, added his perspective and tweeted, "This new Hunga Tonga research study in peer review is revelatory. He says it's revelatory, all right? Seriously, we need to consider the volcano as an unexpected, decade-long natural warming spike, all right? And this is from a scientist, ladies and gentlemen, that was chief of NOAA, all right? Chief scientist of NOAA. The greenhouse warming effect of 40 trillion gallons of water vapor in the atmosphere may have just kicked. Oh, I was wrong. It wasn't 39 billion. It was 40 trillion. So I was only off by a factor of 1,000, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, that is incredible. And remember, whatever goes up must come down. So eventually this 40 trillion gallons of water will be coming down on us. And I think that it maybe has. Remember that drought that we were having on the West Coast, and now it's not really in drought anymore because it has so much rain, and all of the floods that's going on all over the world. And all of that flooding, of course, is because of global warming, ladies and gentlemen. And I've gone on long enough on this one, but to finish it off, they say, don't worry. We're sure the climate alarmists in the White House have a solution for all of this. Stop driving automobiles, eat insects, and own nothing. I think we already covered that. I'm not going to read this entire article, but for all of the articles that I go over, ladies and gentlemen, I do leave a link on a pinned comment for you to take a look at if you want to revisit it. But here it says, third quarter sales decline due to weakening demand compared to the same quarter last year. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why are sales declining? Why are people eating less meat? Because there's still the same amount of people, if not more people in the United States this year than there were last year. So it has to mean that if sales are declining, they're either getting their meat somewhere else or they're just not eating as much. And there's only so many meat processing companies in the United States as is. So I'm thinking that it's not because they're getting their meat from somewhere else. Now, if you take it all the way to the bottom of this article, it says the biggest takeaway is that American consumers are becoming more cautious and pulling back on meat purchases amid 2 years of negative real wage growth. Meaning what? Inflation. Meaning that inflation is out of control. And I've always told you, ladies and gentlemen, and you can take this to the bank, is that your wages will never keep up with inflation. So inflation for the last several years has been so out of control that people cannot even afford to keep up with buying basic meats, with buying chicken, beef. Pork is the only thing that has had an upswing because pork is pretty much the cheapest meat that there is up there. So Americans are broke. They are giving up good protein because they can't afford it. AP, you're always talking about rice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I love rice. Even if I can't eat it anymore, I still love rice. But I've been warning about this for a while. And the reason this is a big deal is because a lot of people around the world are going to starve, right? Rice feeds about half of the people in the world. And although we here in Western nations have not really felt the hunger that's going on around the world, there are billions of people right now that are on the verge of starving, ladies and gentlemen. But here in Western nations, we are going to feel this food crisis that's happening right now around the world. We're going to feel it in our pockets first. Just like I talked about, people are now buying less meat. Why? Because they can't afford it. That's how we're going to feel it at first. Eventually, we will see scarcity. We will see people actually starving here. But we're going to be one of the last countries that happens to. Right? So here it says, Thai white rice, 5% broken, hit $648 per ton this week, the highest level since 2008. Prices are up over 50% since the start of 22, and that's for the Thai white rice. And you know, you can talk about other white rice like the non-basmati from India that India stopped exporting. I've heard of places where that rice itself was up 300%. Right? You're looking at your Calrose rice, it's up almost 100%. You're looking at your long grain rice, it's up almost 100%. I'm talking from about a year and a half ago or so, right? But still, that's a lot of money for someone who uses rice as a staple, and a lot of Americans do. For rice to go up 100% or 300%, that is a big hit, and they're going to have to cut back on something else or cut back on rice itself. The weekly change in price is about a 13% surge, the largest since the index began in the summer of 2008. So 1 week surge in price of 13%, the largest since this index that tracks it began. That tells me that this is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. 2.4 billion people already do not have enough food as this new global food famine accelerates. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a joke. And the thing is that we are not feeling this here in the West, but we will eventually. So get prepared now that you still can. Yeah, rice is twice as expensive as it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. But guess what? You can still get it fairly cheap for the amount of calories that you're going to be able to get and put away with it. If you want to get food that is really high in nutrition and be able to put away for a long time, I just thought about my Nutrient Survival. Nutrient Survival, ladies and gentlemen, no, this is not a sponsored video, but Nutrient Survival is the very best long-term freeze-dried food that there is in the market, period. And the people that make it are awesome Americans that I call my friends. They're probably closer to family at this point. So go check out Nutrient Survival. I have my link in the bottom of the description of this video, and I do have a code AP10 that allows you to save 10% off anything that you get at the store. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, just go check it out. If you've never heard of Nutrient Survival, if you've heard about it but you've never checked it out, but you are in the market to put away food for long term, go and check out Nutrient Survival. Compare it to, let's say, Mountain House. Compare it to any long-term food storage company you want. Compare it to any other long-term food, right? Just take a look at the labels in the back, nutritional information. You compare that, and you're going to be convinced that not only are they the most nutritious freeze-dried food for long-term storage, but that they're also the cheapest when you compare it to the big dogs like Mountain House. Anyways, store food while you can, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Here it says that global food supplies just keep getting even tighter, and global hunger has risen to extremely high levels. People on the other side of the world are literally starving to death. Sheesh. The primary way that this crisis would manifest itself in wealthy nations like this one during the early stages could be through higher food prices, and that's what we're seeing. And this is precisely what we are witnessing, ladies and gentlemen. Higher food prices is the first way that is manifested in the West, while the third world countries, people are actually literally starving to death. But eventually there will be a scarcity issue here where food will get so expensive that people will just not be able to get it, and they will be beholden to the government. Make sure that you prepare now so you can use your no muscle and not be one of those that are beholden to the government, ladies and gentlemen. Help your food pantry wherever you live. Help your church. Help your neighbor. Food inflation is here to stay, and the entire planet is going to suffer as a result. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I could probably do a separate video on each one of these topics, but I really don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to be putting up 10 videos a day. It's just not my style. And so that's why I skim through the articles, so that if you find interest in them, I provide you with the link so that you can then go and take a look at it for yourself. Okay? So that's why I skim through them, and you know, that's why I don't put out a video every single article that I think is interesting in the realm of preparedness or actionable intel. But here's an article which points out 10 signs, in the opinion of the author, who is Michael Snyder, that we are living in apocalyptic times, and a lot of things I have to agree with. Number one is that leaders all over the world seem to be catching war fever. Well, I've often stated, ladies and gentlemen, that whenever we are near the end of a monetary system, that the only thing that they can do is take us to war, right? That's what they can do, is take us to war, and that's what they're trying to do right now. Let's hope that, well, we're already at war. I was going to say let's hope that it doesn't happen, but we're already at war. We're already in somewhat of a world war. You can call it whatever kind of war you want. Proxy, financial, you know, economic, whatever. Anyways, number two, both sides just continue to escalate the war in Ukraine, and now Russians are openly warning that they could potentially use nuclear weapons. There's absolutely nothing we can do if that occurs except to be prepared the best that we can and try to survive it, right? Do our best to survive it, because ultimately it is up to God whether you stay on this earth in the physical form or not, or you go home, right? So there's not too much that we can do about a nuclear war happening. All right, so just be as prepared as you can. Number three, according to the United Nations, and we just talked about this, 2.4 billion people already don't have enough food to eat. And now that the Black Sea grain deal has broken down and India has placed severe restrictions on rice exports, we are being warned that global food prices will soon go much higher. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, it's happening right now. Number four, pestilence are raging all over the globe, and many old diseases are now making stunning comebacks. For example, Florida has now become the epicenter for an outbreak of leprosy in the United States. That is incredible. I believe that I heard here a few months back that there was the plague had evolved up in had come out in California, I think, in the homeless population, the plague. So pretty crazy. Who knows? Maybe we are living in end times. I think we are always, really. Number five, global weather patterns have gone completely nuts. And ladies and gentlemen, The climate changes every single day. Everything is cyclic. Just prepare the best that you can. Listen to this. Phoenix just had a streak where the high temperatures reach at least 110 degrees for 31 days in a row. That is incredible. And we better prepare for more of that. Have a solar generator. Have a generator first. Have a small window air conditioner that you can power with your generator or solar generator. All right. Have solar panels. All right. Especially if you live in an area like Phoenix that gets a lot of sun. That way you can have a cold room if you have a power outage. Men are getting pregnant and giving birth to babies. I don't even want to talk about this one. I can put in my opinion, but I just find this subject matter disgusting to talk about. Number 7, technology continues to increase at a pace that is absolutely breathtaking. In fact, it is being reported that scientists have developed a breakthrough treatment that appears to annihilate all solid tumors. That is incredible. Will they keep it from us, ladies and gentlemen? Or will they use it to profit? Or will they use it to help humanity? I think you already know what the answer to that is. Scientists are bringing ancient species back to life. For instance, it is being reported that one team of researchers was recently able to reanimate worms that had been frozen for thousands of years. That is very scary. They're opening Pandora's box, and who knows what's going to happen with those worms and what kind of bacteria or carcinogens they bring with them. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. All I know is why bring back something that was meant to not be brought back, ladies and gentlemen. My opinion. Deaths from heart attacks have been suffering or surging dramatically in every age group in the United States. I wonder why. Let me tell you a little something that someone sent me an email a while back. I tried my darndest to find this email, but I could not find it. If you're the one that sent it to me, send it to me again. All right, this was more than a year ago, about a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years ago. And this is how the email went. Hello, AP. I am an executive for so-and-so company, a big company, all right? And we just had a board meeting where we had to decide what we were going to do in the next 3 to 5 years to replace 75%. 75%, ladies and gentlemen, 75% of our work staff. All right? Why? This is why. They said that within 3 to 5 years, and this was about a year and a half to 2 years ago that I got this email. They said that within 3 to 5 years that their 75% of their work staff or workforce was going to be so ill or no longer living that they were going to have to find a way to replace them. And I'll let you wonder or estimate or guesstimate or think about why it is that 75% of the workforce was going to be either incapable of working or just not alive. All right. The relative increase in heart attack associated deaths among 25 to 44-year-olds was a staggering 30%. Experts are still working to figure out why young people are so impacted. Really? They're still working on that, huh? You know what? I'm really sorry. I know a lot of people that had no choice. They gave themselves no choice to do what the government told them to do. But it's not going to end well. And I'm really sorry about that. It's just not going to end well. For everyone in the United States will suffer. Right? Everyone will. Unfortunately. Number 10, our soil and water are already heavily saturated with microplastics, and now we are being told that this crisis is getting exponentially worse. Get a water filter, ladies and gentlemen. Reverse osmosis. I heard that they say that they find these forever chemicals now like in fruits and vegetables and stuff. I don't have to worry about that because I mainly eat meat. But anyways, get a water filter. Take a look at my link below if you want to find what I think is one of the very least expensive reverse osmosis water filtration system in the market. Simpure makes a good water filtration system that is a reverse osmosis system for a very good price. Don't trust your municipality water. Don't trust the water in your well. Even if you check the water in your well every month, what happens if it's in between months and something happens that seeped into the soil? I'm not trying to scare you about this. It's just smart. How many times are we going to have to hear of places that they were experiencing cancer and brain tumors and this and that for years until they finally found out that it was the water? Go get a reverse osmosis water filtration system. And if you don't want to use my link, then don't use it. And actually, I also have a code for 20% off. But if you don't want to use my link, don't use it, ladies and gentlemen. But go get one. Install it. Very easy to install. Or you can get a countertop one that's pretty much plug and play. Now, for the good news article of the day. Kenya kicks eye-scanning world coin to the curb. Refuses to become data harvesting guinea pigs. Hallelujah. I love it when I see small countries like this fight back. Because at least it shows us big countries what can be done. And if they're doing it, these little countries are doing it that aren't that powerful in a worldwide capacity, I would say. Right? Then it at least shows us big countries, hey, why don't you step up? We're stepping up, and look at how small we are. But the Kenyan Ministry of the Interior last week suspended the controversial tech firm WorldCoin and any similar entities from operating in the country. That's all I need to read, ladies and gentlemen. Come and revisit this article if you like. I think this is great news. We all need to fight back against this kind of stuff. We need to use our no muscle. But most importantly, how are you able to use your no muscle? The way that you are able to use your no muscle is by being well prepared, or the very best prepared that you can. That way, when they turn off the lights, let's say, you have a generator. When you run out of gas for that generator and the gas pumps aren't working, guess what? You have a solar generator with solar panels. When the supermarket's closed, guess what? You've got a year's supply of food. When the water is not good to drink, guess what? You've got a reverse osmosis water filtration system, or one of the good water filtration systems like the Zero Water, like the Berkey water filtration systems. Simpure has a gravity-fed water filtration system that you can use to make that water potable. That is a way to use your no muscle, is to be as best prepared as you possibly can. I hope that you have a great day. Remember, later on today, I will be putting out a short video to show you all what Oupes has going on with their awesome hurricane sale. These are literally the best prices that I've seen since they've opened their doors. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.